Still a bit awkward just doing this whole sit down intro thing, but we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep. Hey guys, check 1 2 1 2. It's your boy Jayson the writer, and welcome back to another video on my channel. If you're new here, thank you for coming to this video. If you're a returning viewer or a subscriber, thank you so much for the continued support. For those of you that are new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment after this video if you enjoyed the content, and let's get into this video.
You make my life better. You make my life better, Papa. Onto I get me share. Onto I get me share. You make my life.
So today I'm talking about the journey of Home for Christmas, and me as a writer, in fact. For those of you that have followed my journey on social media, you guys will know that I wrote a play last year, 2023, in April. Well, I wrote a play at the beginning of 2023 and we performed it in April of that year. It was called Rebirth, and that was an amazing play. It was a great, it got great reception, and it kind of put me on a path to doing another play, but this time I wanted to do it in the theater. So when my pastor approached me and said he wanted me to write a play for our church, because the first play I wrote was for a joint conference for us, I said, all right, but if I do this, pastor, I wanted this to be in a theater, because I felt like we had the potential, we had the enthusiasm and the attitude to actually put something together. So then the pressure was on me to write something. And I already was toying with an idea about a family coming together for Christmas and just having stuff happening in the family during the Christmas season, healing, laughter, jokes, music, song, all of that. So I started writing in April or May, about that time. And, you know, I started to kind of piece my cast together because I knew the people that I had already worked with in the past, not just in the previous play Rebirth, but also in music and in worship. So I kind of started, you know, putting feelers out like, hey, just so you know, I'm thinking about you for this cast, for this character, I'm thinking about you. And we were able to get started in September. We had our first table read. So between May and September, I was working on the script. I think it probably took me about 2.5 weeks of actual effort, but it spanned from May to September. Now during this period, where I found that I was easily inspired to write was at Starbucks, and I had to leave my house because, you know, in the comfort of your own home, you can get distracted by little things, especially when you have a kitchen like mine. It's like, oh, let me just go eat something. So I would get started at Starbucks, and then eventually I would write in different places. When I went to Malta, I wrote a little bit. When I went to Germany, I wrote a little bit. When I went to Ireland, I wrote some more, and then I finished it here in the UK, well, in England, London. And so the journey of writing, I remember on one of my screens in my office, I just had the scenes mapped out. I didn't know the meat of the scene, but I knew what was happening in the scene, so I had it mapped out. So I kind of worked on a play like that. This was going to be one of those ones that kind of tested whether I was growing as a writer. So just for context, my first play, Rebirth, was 25 pages. This play, Home for Christmas, was 104 pages. So it was more than 4 times the size of the original play, but it was something that I was like, I wanted to be a writer. You know, my name is Jayson the writer, and I know I use that specifically for writing music and songs, but I wanted to make sure that I could be a writer for plays and fiction and things like that. So I worked on it. While I was working on it, one of my friends came to visit from Atlanta, who is an actor. So I gave him, I think, scene 6 to read, and he didn't read it out loud, but I was there when he was reading it, and I could hear him reacting to what was happening. I think it was then I was like, okay, you could be onto something. You could be onto something. So we had our table read. I know if you've been watching in the video, you can see in the back, and I'll lay it over as well. We had our first table read at the end of September. I had all of the cast together, and we just sat and read the play. Now, they hadn't read the play at all, so this was them reading their characters for the first time. I gave them a bit of a brief before we started, but they read it for the first time. We played the finale song together, and you know, everybody seemed to enjoy it. where I had intended comedy, they laughed. There were some places where there wasn't intended comedy and they laughed as well. So that was also good. I was like, oh, I thought that was funny. But yeah, it was good for me to get that reaction, and you know, especially in the moment. You know, sometimes you could send, I guess in the business, they'll send you a script and you can react at home and then you can, you know, fluff it up to the writer or director. But for me to get the reaction in the moment, and this group of people, they're not people that they ain't gonna try and play in my face like, oh yeah, thanks, it was good, it was good, it was good, it was good. No. These people, this cast will be like, bruh, that was whack. But no, thankfully, they enjoyed it, and so right after that we started doing our Zoom rehearsals. So we did a month of Zoom rehearsals, kind of working on each scene, got them to ask whatever questions they had for me, and then we moved into in-person rehearsals in November. And so we did in October we were doing twice weekly Zoom sessions. And then November came and we were rehearsing Sundays, Tuesdays and Thursdays in person. And this was when you start to see like the characters come into life in front of you, and you know, the cast would add certain things and, you know, say things a certain way, maybe switch a word here and there. And it was interesting just to kind of watch that whole process. And obviously as a second time writer and director, but first time director for theatre, it was just interesting watching this process. And I think for me, I wasn't able to really step into the director role as much as I could have or wanted to, because I was also one of the cast members. I had a character that I was playing. So interested kind of seeing the whole direct act. So in hindsight, you know, I'll probably do that again, but I know the next play for me, I'm definitely going to just be a director. I want to see what it is to be in that role fully and then really embrace that. And you know, I've been toying with the idea, if I write another one, when another play comes to me and it may feature me as a either supporting cast or main cast member, I would ask somebody else to direct me, just so that I can feel what it is to be back acting. Because it's been so many years that I've been on the stage or in front of a camera acting, and I really want to I really want to step into that when it's time to step into it, if you understand what I mean. So yeah, November we were in person rehearsals, and you know, the cast would ask me questions, they'd challenge me at times, and then I'd challenge them at times, kind of give them some direction, as you can see in the back. So this is all the behind the scenes in the background of, you know, rehearsals and stuff. And then we get to December and it was like crunch time, and you know, making sure that the theatre that I got my pastor to pay for and all the other expenses that came with that, I had to make sure that what we were doing was going to be something that he can say, I don't mind doing this again. And it was selling tickets and promotions and all of that good stuff. And so we get to December and it's the day of the show, or the week of the show. And feedback that I've been given is that the week of the actual show, like, I wasn't myself. I wasn't mean, thankfully, but it seemed like the cast just knew not to play with me too tough. And I feel like, you know, I didn't realize this until after, you know, talking to certain cast members, like, nah, Jayson, like, you was something else during that period. And so I asked, was I mean? And they were like, no, you weren't mean, but you were definitely not yourself. And, you know, it's funny how you think you may be just, you know, normal, but the reality is these people that watch you and observe you on a week-to-week basis, they see you as you are. And so they could tell that, you know, Jayson was on the edge a little bit, and rightfully so. The nerves of putting something like this in the theatre and having somebody support a talent that was really new. I felt the pressure, and then also for the cast, I didn't want them to walk away from this thinking it was a waste of time.
What are you making?
I was thinking oxtails, rice and peas, and plantain.
Plan what?
Plantain.
You mean plantain?
No, I said it right.
Listen, your daddy may be Caribbean, maybe a Caribbean man, but my sister, your mother is a Nigerian, and where we are from, we say plantain.
Listen, uncle, if I fry plantain, are you going to eat it?
Yes.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
Hi, did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear it.
A little louder.
Yes.
Hey, Uncle Johnny.
Yes, I said yes. That's what.
That's what I thought.